All right, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? It is the Master Ranker back again with another ranking. I know we're already doing a ranking once again after that whole, we did the whole tier list miss double week that I was just releasing non-stop tier lists, but we did just now release a review for the Peaky Blinders, so we are doing a ranking for the characters of the show. So yeah, we're not going to be doing side style. I'm not really doing side style anymore, except for, as usual, the top tiers. So yeah, I don't really have any preamble to give, so we're just going to get into this, starting off with Aberama Gold. And I liked Aberama Gold a lot. I would give him S tier. He was one of my favorite characters from the show. I think, honestly, he was done like the most dirty out of any of the characters. They introduced him. It was like Tommy needs help defeating the Mafia in season 4, so he says like he's hiring Aberama Gold, who's this gypsy hitman, and then and so he hires Aberama Gold. By the way, I'm not sure, is gypsy a slur? Because they, first of all, they say it a lot in this show, and I'm not sure, because like they say it a lot here, and I don't think it is, but I don't know. I'll see if this video ends up getting demonetized. Let's see here, is gypsy a slur? I'm not sure. If so, it's like, yes, it is a widely considered racial slur, so okay, so I guess I shouldn't say that, but yeah, okay, they say it non-stop in the show, but I guess they are Romanian, so anyway, so Aberama Gold, yeah, they say, Tommy basically says he's going to hire a bounty hunter because he needs help in order to defeat the Mafia in season 4, and so they end up hiring Aberama Gold, and they basically say, like, you have Johnny Dog, who basically says, like, I'll get you 50 good lead boys instead of Aberama Gold. It's like, those are bad men, and then Tommy's like, I don't need good men, I need bad men, and then, but we didn't really see him do anything like terrible. It's like he's been a pretty good character. Like, I don't think at any point he does anything like really evil or anything. He wants his son, like he cares for his son. He wants to help his son with his boxing career, which that's just being a good father, I guess. And then his son ends up getting like killed in front of him in season 5, and then yeah, crucified in front of him. Like, really, just I feel the most bad for him out of any character in the show, except for maybe one other. But we'll get to that later on. So. Yeah, and then he himself ends up dying in season 5 after losing his son. He's about to, like, he proposes to Polly, so it's like you think, like, okay, he's got a bit of happiness left, like he has something to live for still, and he just ends up dying. So yeah, I feel just really bad for his character. I liked him a lot, though. I think this actor, he plays I don't know the actor's name, I forgot his name, but I'm pretty sure he plays someone in Game of Thrones, which I haven't seen the show, and he also plays someone in Maze Runner, so which I've seen the Maze Runner movies. I like the actor. I think he is good, and in this role he is also very good, so I would give him S tier, I would say. So Ada, I would give her like C tier. Honestly, she was good, but I really only like her when she's involved in the actual Peaky Blinder business. When she, like, in her at her best, I thought, was at the end of the show in like season 6, where Tommy he can't like be part of the business meeting because he's like dealing with his daughter Ruby, who has tuberculosis. So Ada ends up having to take Tommy's place, and then like when she's involved in the business stuff, she's like feels a lot more interesting. But besides that, like most of the show, it's like she's just off doing her own thing. She's not really involved with the business and stuff. She's just kind of like loosely related to the Shelbys, and so she's pretty forgettable throughout most of the show. So I'm gonna have to give her C tier. Alfie Solomon, this is another S tier character. I loved him. Tom Hardy is just a great actor. I love Tom Hardy. He's one of my favorite actors, and I think that in this role, he's like the most charming, charismatic like character in the entire show. Just every scene with him, the accents, his like his motifs, I think would be the word, just his mannerisms and stuff. It's like he meets Luca Changretta, and it's like he's closing his eyes and he's like not willing to open it until like half an hour goes by, because he heard from like some guy that works with like blind, he has a blind cousin, so he's like, he closes his eyes for like half an hour a day in order to know what it's like to be blind, and he's not willing to open it early for Luca Changretta. So it's like just his whole character, it's like so chaotic and fun, and like surprisingly, like he's out of all the, I did mention this in my review, but out of all the characters in the show, he is one, like a lot of characters, they are either in the beginning of the show and then eventually they end up getting killed, or they just don't show up anymore, or they're introduced like in the middle of the show, and then I guess not a lot of characters really make it to the end of the show, but he's been like one of the most consistent characters that have not been part of the Peaky Blinder actual crew. So I did think that yeah, he is just a very fun character, and I would give it S tier. So I think this is Angel Changretta. He was the guy that ended up dying, that kind of caused the whole war between the Peaky Blinders and the Mafia. So I don't really care for him too much. He's not really a character. He's just meant to be not a prop, but like he's just meant to start a feud between the Peaky. Like, he ends up going out on a date with Lizzie, I think, and then from there, the Peaky Blinders end up firebombing his store. Like, they commit arson on his store, and then From there, John is not willing to apologize for it, so then he gets so upset that he ends up basically killing him, and then that causes the war between the mafia and the. Then I think then the Italians, they retaliate, and then from there, Tommy, well, not Tommy specifically, but Arthur ends up killing whatever his name was out of mercy. I forgot who it was. Luca Chainretta's father. Let's see here, what was his name? Vincent. Yeah, so Vincent ended up dying, and that caused Luca to basically come to Birmingham's get revenge. So his character wasn't really it wasn't really a character. It was just kind of meant to start a feud between the mafia and Peaky Blinders. So anyway, this guy, he was the Russian that was in season 3. I didn't care for him. I think he was just a spy. The whole thing with season 3, it was convoluted and confusing, and I did mention that it was my least favorite thing about the show. I mentioned that in my review, and so his role in it, in the whole part of season 3, I didn't fully understand. He was a spy that I don't know who he was working for, if he was working for Section D or the Red Russians. I think he was working for the Red Russians, and then so he was spying on the White Russians or something. I don't know. His role in the show was confusing. I don't really know. I don't care for him too much, so D/F. This guy, he was a mafia spy in season 4, and he's not really a character that's in the show. He's just in one scene basically, and then Tommy ends up killing him. So D/F tier. This guy, he was barely in the show, but he had 1 or 2 good scenes where I think he would. He was the one that ended up getting the call that Tommy had blackmail on the King of England, and so he was okay, well, stop the executions. But he said it in a very in a funny way, so we'll give him C tier for that. Arthur Shelby Sr., I will give him. By the way, I think I just realized now. I think this is in alphabetical order. Yeah, I just realized that. Who's the last one? I don't know who the last one here is, but yeah, this is Winston Churchill. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize now because it started with Aberema and then Alfie, Ada. Yeah, this is in alphabetical order. I'm just now realizing this. So, Arthur Shelby Sr., I would give him probably, I'll give him C tier. I thought he was an interesting character. It's a bit of a shame we didn't really see, he was in one scene, I think in season 1, or maybe it was season 2, I think it was season 1 though, and then you just hear that he ended up dying in the 3rd season or the 4th season. I don't remember which one it was. I think probably the 3rd season. So it is a bit of a shame that you don't really see too much of him, but he was an interesting character as the father of the Peaky Blinder boys Arthur and Tommy. So C tier just because I guess it was interesting when he ended up scamming Arthur, so he wasn't a good father, but he was an interesting character, I'll say. Arthur Shelby, I'm gonna give him B tier. Honestly, he started out really strong. I did like him a lot. In the at the start, he's this wild veteran that he's very crazy and stuff, and he has PTSD from the war. And then from there, you get to season 3 where he ends up. Was it season 3? I think it was season 3. Yeah, it was season 3. Moving into season 4, he ends up marrying what's her name? Linda? Yeah, Linda. He ends up marrying Linda, and then she kind of basically calms him down and gets him to give up the life of the gangster life. And then from there, but then he ends up the mafia war starts happening in season 4 again, and then from there he kind of reverts back to his old ways, and then he does some really messed up stuff of beating a guy senseless. I thought he killed him, but he the first time I watched it, from what I remember, I thought he killed him, but he didn't. He just disfigured his face basically, and then the way he ends up treating Billy, which ends up causing the death of Aberama, Polly, and Barney. I thought that he was. It's he started off he was descending, and then he kind of he had a redemption kind of, but then it's he fell back into his old ways and stuff. But I don't know. It's it didn't work for me. They did portray him as I guess being kind of helpless, and he started becoming a junkie and drinking again and stuff. But I don't know. I feel if they had shown him more depressed or something, maybe he should not have. I'm not advocating for. I don't know if I could say the word without getting demonetized. I don't know. I always say demonetized. I'm not even monetized, so I feel there's something that I don't think that the videos could get taken down if I say too many bad words. But yeah, he ends up committing. I'm just gonna say suicide. He had a suicide attempt early on in the show, and I feel if they kind of showed him more leaning into if they showed him leaning more into that side of the depression, I felt that would have I feel we didn't see him depressed enough in season in the later seasons where I felt that he should have been back in his lowest point. So yeah, but overall I would say he's a B tier character. I enjoyed him in the show, and I just don't know how I felt too much about his character progression really. So towards the end, I would say. I don't remember. This is the wife of Vincent. So John and Arthur, they let her live, and then from that, she basically told Luca about what happened, and then she wanted revenge on the Peaky Blinders. And I feel like it wouldn't have mattered if they kept her alive, because if they killed her, then I feel like Luca would have probably still found out eventually, and then would have retaliated. So I don't really care for too much D tier. So this is Barney. He was the mental institute guy that ended up. Tommy ended up breaking out in order to assassinate Oswald Mosley, and he fails to do so. I'll give him B tier for Barney. I thought that you didn't see too much of him, but he was like a pretty, I don't know, optimistic guy. Like, he was mentally insane, but I guess he was fun when he was on screen. So B tier. This was Major Ben Younger. Yeah, Ben Younger. I'd give him A tier. I liked him. It's a bit of a shame they killed him off like really early. He's just kind of a guy that gets introduced, and then you kind of have a time skip, and then he's kind of living with Ada, and then his whole thing is to like get her. He gets her pregnant, and then from there he just ends up. He's working with Thomas kind of, but then they end up killing him off. And I felt like, okay, there was some interesting stuff that you could have done with him, like. So I did. I like this character, and I just kind of wish that. That's a big thing in the show. They like kill off a lot of characters, and some of them it's like I kind of wish that they leave alive, because I do want to see like the character progression. And some of the characters they do feel like a bit short-lived. Like Abraham Gold, like he is only in 2 seasons, which is a bit of a shame, like for a show that runs the course of 6 seasons. Ben Younger also, like, he's only in 2 seasons. So that's why I saw someone like Alfie Solomon I like, because they actually keep them alive for more than just 2 or 3 seasons. So yeah, but I would give Ben Younger, I would say, A tier. This is the woman that, this was kind of confusing, because Thomas, he ends up giving her the cursed sapphire, and then from there, that killed Grace, and then from there, she gives the sapphire thing to her sister, and then the sister gives it to her daughter, and then the daughter ends up dying, and then from there, it's like they want revenge, so they end up cursing Thomas's daughter Ruby to like die when she's 7 years old, and it was weird, because like, why would they retaliate against Thomas, like if they accepted the cursed object? So I don't know, that was weird. I don't really care for too much, not really care for the show, so D tier. Billy Grade, I would give him, I'll give him C tier. I feel like bad for him, because he didn't want to get involved, like out of all the characters, like he was the one that didn't want no part of any of the action, and then he was just kind of forced to, because he had connections to like the people in the football/soccer. I'm American, I say soccer, so he had, but I'll say football for the sake of this because it's a British show. He had connections to the referees and stuff, and so the Peaky Blinders basically forced him to work for them, and then from there he kind of he's the reason that it undercut a bit of it from season 5, because on rewatch I didn't remember that he was the one that actually leaked the information to Oswald Mosley and the Billy Boys, which is the reason that Thomas's assassination attempt against Oswald went sour. So he was the reason that went wrong, and I forgot about that. So it did. I thought like that Oswald was just some mastermind that was able to out-manipulate Tommy from what I remembered, but then rewatching I was like, okay, Oswald just got lucky. So the whole thing about like Thomas being like, oh, I finally found a man that I can't beat, it's like, no, he just got lucky. So yeah, and then he ends up dying because I forgot why he ends up dying, but I remember how he ends up dying, but it was Duke that ends up like beating him up, and then basically trying to get Finn to kill him. I forgot why though. Like, did they figure out that it was? Did they figure out that Billy was the leak? Did Tommy realize this? Like, I forgot. It wasn't the most clear with that. So C tier. I feel bad for him. He also ends up getting almost his. He almost gets his dick cut off by what's his name? Jack Nelson. Yeah. So I feel bad for him. He feels like one of the biggest victims of the show, I'll say so. Billy Kimber, I like Billy Kimber, I'm going to say S tier. He was the first villain, and he was a great introduction villain. Like, he had this great accent, which I wish they gave to more of the villains. Like, honestly, some of the best characters you just tie into their accents, like Alfie, Billy, Abraham, a bit less so, but yeah, just the accents of the characters I loved in the show. And Billy Kimber had a great accent, and his whole like vibe was just very fun, and he didn't really feel threatening. Like a lot of the earlier villains, like Billy and Darby Savini, like they didn't feel like cunning as much as they just felt like kind of they were just these chaotic kind of crazy guys, but they weren't too smart, it felt like. And then later on you have guys that are like smarter, like Luca Changretta as well as Oswald Mosley and stuff. So but they were fun. He was funny. I liked him, so S tier. This is, I forgot who he is, but he was just someone that worked for Tommy at some point that Alfie ends up killing him, pretty sure, at the, it was a meal that, it was, I think they said it was a Passover meal, so, yeah, because, yeah, Alfie said, like, it was the day of, he killed him, he apologized to Arthur, he was like, I remember, he said, I'm sorry I used my holy day in order to kill your friend, and I think that, yeah, this was the guy that ended up dying from that, so, this guy he was just a boxer that I think Tommy hired in order to fight Bonnie Gold, Abrama's son, and then that was his only role in the show, so don't really care for him. Bonnie, I feel bad for Bonnie. I'm getting him like C tier just because he went out in such a sad way. Like he ended up getting crucified by the Billy Boys, and then not really crucified. I feel like crucified means you have to. I don't know how it works, but I guess crucified just means like you get your hands nailed to a cross and then you die from that. But they just shot him while he was nailed to a cross, and I feel bad for him. He died in a sad way. So yeah, I'm gonna give him C tier. C tier. Feel bad for him. This is Brilliant Shang. I would give him like, I'll give him B tier for Brilliant. I did think that he was a fun character. In like the bit, I thought that he had a great introduction where it's like he had Finn at gunpoint, and then I thought that was like a great standoff moment in the introduction to him. He's basically the one that just brings the opium business to Thomas Shelby, and then, but after that, he's not really in the show after that, so B tier. Inspector Campbell, I will give him S tier. I liked him. I thought he was actually like the main villain of season 1 along with Billy Kimber, and I thought that he was, I thought the guy that plays him, Neil something, what was his name? Let's see here. Neil will come up if I just say, no, that's not specific enough. Peaky Blinders. Neil, is it Neil Young? Is that his name? I don't have internet at the moment, so it's not gonna load, is it? Yeah, okay, it's not gonna load. Let me try here. Peaky Blinders, Inspector, Campbell, Neil something. Okay, there's no internet, and I'm just not gonna bother trying to get it back. Anyway, it was the guy that he's played by the guy that plays, what's his name? Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park. So I thought he was another character with a great accent, and I thought the character was pretty good as this guy that has not a vendetta, because apparently I learned from the show that vendetta, actually, I thought vendetta just means like a grudge against someone, but vendetta apparently in this, it's like, it actually apparently is related to directly from the Italian mafia, where it's like just getting revenge on someone's family for a person from your family dying, so. But he basically does have a grudge against Thomas Shelby because Thomas kind of stole Grace from him when she wasn't really his to begin with. But yeah, so he has a personal grudge against Thomas for that reason, as well as I thought it was a good character S tier, I'm gonna say. This guy, I don't know who this is, so I'm just gonna give him don't remember. I think this is Charles or something, I don't remember. I think this is like one of Tommy's kids. This is Charlie Strong. This was Tommy's uncle. And he's not, honestly, he's a pretty prominent character in the show, but he doesn't really show up to, like, he doesn't do a lot in the show, really. He's just kind of there as a member of the Peaky Blinders. But besides being a member of the Peaky Blinders, he doesn't actually do anything, really. He's just kind of, like, follows the orders of Tommy and stuff, so just gonna give him a C tier. Who is this? This is, I think, the girl that Michael slept with in one of the earlier, I think it was like the 3rd season or something. I'm just gonna give her, don't remember. This is a woman that I think Inspector Campbell slept with in season, I forgot what season it was, I think probably the 2nd season. She was a hooker, I'm pretty sure. This guy is Grace's original husband that ended up killing himself after Grace left him. Yeah, this is a guy that was forced to give stuff he was forced to give up an armory keys to the Peaky Blinders. I don't really care for him once again. This is Curly. Curly is, I'll give him C tier. I'll give him C for Curly. Another member of the Peaky Blinders that just, it's similar to Charlie, he's just like around. He does stuff for Tommy when he needs, but other than that, he's not really, they don't have character arcs, that's their thing. So yeah. This is the dog of Alfie Solomon. Listen, once again, I know it's an unpopular opinion. I don't really care for like pets or something if they're not too prominent in the show, so don't really care for him. This is Danny Whizbang, and I'll give him C tier just for, I did like the, I don't know what happened to him really. No, I do remember he ends up dying at the end of season 1 from Billy Kimber. He ends up getting shot. and I did like the whole fake out death that they had with him. It was a good introduction to kind of Tommy's like intelligence and his strategy and intellect and stuff. So definitely I would say C tier. Darby Sabini, I will give him S tier. I honestly, the villains of the show are like some of the best, I would say, characters in the entire show. Darby Sabini was a pretty good, another fun character. He was pretty similar to Billy Kimber, where it's just like this very chaotic guy that ran racetracks and stuff, and that was against Tommy. So these two are kind of pretty similar in vibe, like Darby and Billy, but I did think that I kind of like Billy a bit better, just for he has a better accent, I guess, but Darby was still fun. And it's a bit of a shame because he never ends up dying, so he's still in the show, and he is mentioned like here and there in the later episodes of the show, so it's a bit of a shame that they never brought him back at any point, even because he was like he's still alive, so they could bring him back at any point, but they just don't really decide to. This is Dina. This was I think her name was Dina. She is the wife of Oswald Mosley that Oswald ends up marrying, and yeah, I don't know, her role is kind of weird. She's like a fascist, and she sleeps with Tommy, and it's like, I don't really know, she's just kind of, she's a fascist that has basically the same goals as Oswald, but Tommy kind of ends up working with her, not like working with her, but like she ends up conducting a lot of the business in Oswald's place, so I don't really care for her, to be honest. I'm just gonna say teacher. This guy, I feel so bad for this kid. He basically, the Peaky Blinders was like, okay, we need someone to go to jail for us in order to help I forgot if they were telling the truth, that they were like, we need someone to get arrested in order for the cops to like hit their deadline or something, that we pay off, something like that. Because like, I think because they were paying off cops, so if the cops like just aren't arresting anyone, then they're gonna lose their jobs or something. So I don't know if that was actually legit, but he ends up dying in the jail, and it might have been that they actually sent him there to die, so I don't remember, but I will say that I feel so bad for it. His name was like Big Bit the Kid, so I'm just gonna give him, I feel bad for him. I said I feel bad for Billy Grade. Okay, Billy Grade, yeah, he's a victim, but he also like made the choice to betray the Peaky Blinders. Like, I feel so bad for this kid. He's like the biggest victim in the entire show. He just like, it was so sad, the scene that he dies. It's like he's in prison and stuff. He's like saying like, I'm not a Peaky Blinder and stuff, and it's like the guys just break into his cell and then just like slit his throat. I just feel so bad for him. So definite S tier. I would give him. I don't know who this is at all. I could not tell you who this is. I have no clue. This is Duke. He was a really late introduction to the show. Like, he actually only shows up in like, I think the third to last episode of the show, and he's revealed to be Tommy's son. And it feels a bit like they're just introducing this character that could be in the sequel series, so they can like have a setup for like a sequel, because they are planning to do spin-offs, and I think the spin-off will involve like, it'll be Duke versus Finn, because I think they kind of set that up in the final episode. So I think that's probably going to be something to do with the spin-off. I don't really care for him too much, because they just introduce him so late that it's like I just can't get invested in the character at all. This is just a guy that ends up getting shot by Tommy, like at the beginning of an episode. I forgot why. I think he was like contracted by the IRA and Inspector Campbell to kill this guy. I don't remember why. This is a priest that Polly like basically confesses to, and yeah, I think he ends up leaking information to I forgot his name, Father Hughes, yeah, from season 3. So I don't know who this is. I don't think this is Ada's child. Ada, she had the child with she was pregnant by Ben Younger, and I don't think this is her daughter, because I feel like, I'm pretty sure like she was, maybe it is, I don't remember, but what would the time frame have been? Because she ends up getting pregnant in like season 5, I'm pretty sure. And so maybe by season 6, this child was already born, but even so, I don't remember at all, so I'm just gonna give her, don't remember. This is Esme, and Esme I would give C tier. She was fine. I liked her when she was involved with John, I would say. She was kind of like this opposing force to like John doing whatever it was that Tommy wanted to do, so she created a bit of conflict, I would say. And then later on, she shows up again in like one of the last episodes, where she basically reveals to Tommy like that he's been cursed, and that's why his daughter is dying and stuff. So, and I think she tries to scam him basically by saying like, okay, for my services of telling you that your daughter's about to die, give me gold. So I don't know, that was fun, I guess. This is the woman that I think, wait, so that's weird. So I guess this is the sister, because who did I say? I said that it was, where is she? This woman, Tommy gave the sapphire to. I guess this is her sister, that she ended up giving the sapphire to her daughter, who ended up dying. So she ended up putting the curse on Ruby, so I don't care for it. The only scene that she was in was like, I like the camera work in that one scene. It was like Tommy just shows up and he just guns her down and then 3 other dudes. So I like that scene. It was a good camera work scene, I would say. Father Hughes, he was my least favorite villain in the entire show. He's like a priest. There's nothing priestly about him. He's just working with Section D. He wants to start a war. He wants the British, I think, to just like go against the communists, I think, because I'm pretty sure from what I understand, the white Russians are the communists. The red Russians are, I guess, not communists, and then they want Britain to go to war with the white Russians, and so they do that. Section D does that by like blowing up a train. This guy's a pedophile, by the way. He, I think, molested Michael apparently somehow there's also this connection between him and Michael where Michael was at this at this church orphanage, something like that, and then he was molested by Father Hughes. So terrible, F tier, awful villain, awful character. Didn't like him. Not a morally good character. And yeah, Finn. I don't really care for him, to be honest. I guess I'm interested to see what they do with him in a sequel series, but I just didn't. He feels like the forgotten Shelby. Like there's John, Thomas, Arthur, and then there's Ada, but then there's also Finn, where it's like in the first few seasons, like you kind of forget that they even have Finn as a brother. So I don't care for him. This is Frances, I think that's her name. She or Francine, something like that. She is one of the workers for Tommy in his in the Arrow House, I'm pretty sure. So I don't really care for her too much. She just kind of she's a servant of Tommy's. Freddie Thorne. I like Freddie Thorne. I would give him C tier. I thought he had an interesting relationship with Tommy, where it's like they both served together in the war, so they were kind of like friends, but they both had like opposite ideals, I think, at the time, where Freddie was a communist and Tommy didn't want to get involved with like the Communist Party. And then I'm not the best with like ideologies, but Tommy ends up, by the end of the show, he becomes a socialist, which I think is different from communism. Because I think the socialists in the show were, from what I understand, socialism is like when the government provides services to the people of the city or something like that. Like the government provides services to everyone, and then communism is where everything is shared. So they seem like pretty similar ideologies. And then there was fascism, which was also in the show was like being tied into socialism, because Tommy was running as a socialist, but then he was working with Oswald, who was a fascist, and I think they called it like national socialism or like national fascism, something like that. Yeah, it's confusing. I'm not really good with the ideologies, and I don't really know how the relationship with that worked. But I did like the fact that it was like one of Tommy's friends from the war that he was. Like, he didn't want to fight, but the positions that they were in, like, kind of forced him to fight. And then he ends up dying, the character ends up dying of, like, influenza at the start of season 2. So, bit of a shame, because the Communist Party does become, like, pretty prominent in the later seasons. So, it's a bit of a shame that, like, he dies so early on when his actual role in the show would have been interesting to see where he ended up later on in the show. So, who is this? I don't know who this is. This isn't Tommy's doctor, I'm pretty sure. Is it his doctor? Let me see here. Is it his doctor? I think my computer's lagging. Okay. Let's see here. Where is Tommy's doctor? I can't tell. I don't think it's this guy though, so. But maybe it is. Okay, you know what? We'll say that it is his doctor for now, and if we do find his doctor later on... No, it's not his doctor. What am I saying? I just watched the final episode like a few hours ago. That was not his doctor. But I don't know where his doctor is. Let's just go through this. Not his doctor. Not his doctor. No. 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 What, none of these are his doctor? Wait, so is that guy actually Tommy's doctor? Okay, it doesn't look like his doctor, but I guess if no other character is, then I'll say it's Tommy's doctor. Fine, I'll give him like C tier. Interesting role that he played. Not even interesting, now I'm being too generous, I'm gonna give him D tier. assuming that this is his doctor, where it does not look at all like his doctor, but we'll just assume that it's his doctor. He basically just tricked Tommy for Oswald, basically like saying, it was interesting, they were like, okay, we can't kill Thomas Shelby, but so the only one that could kill Thomas Shelby is Thomas Shelby himself, so let's convince him that he's dying anyway, and that he's going to be a burden on the people he loves, like if he lets his disease continue to deteriorate his body, but even though he doesn't have a disease. They basically tricked him into thinking that he's dying, and so he would just kill himself in order to not be a burden on his loved ones. So I guess, yeah, good plan. The characters are not, the doctor himself, like, just basically tells him that, and I don't care for the doctor too much. This is, I think, someone in Grace's family, doesn't really show up after the one wedding episode, and so don't care for them. I don't know who this is. I could not tell you, so I'm just gonna give him, don't remember. Gina, this is, I forgot the actress's name. What is the actress's name? The actress's name is, it's the person that plays Beth Harmon in, what's her name? In The Queen's Gambit. Anya Taylor-Joy, yeah, her name is Anya Taylor-Joy. I would give her character C tier, alright, not great, but I enjoyed the moments that she had with Michael as well as with Tommy, and it was always interesting when she was on screen. I'd say C tier. Who is this? This is, I don't remember, this might be Goliath. This might be the guy that Bonnie fought in the boxing match, and so I don't really care for him too much. Grace, I don't care for at all. I liked her in season 1, as well as season 2 to an extent, where she was like kind of a spy, and she was choosing between like she was working for Tommy, but then she was also spying on him and stuff. I thought that was good. Then she just like, basically, she's married, she has a husband, and then she leaves him, she cheats on him, and then her whole character just becomes revolving around Tommy, where it's like she's just like constantly love struck by Tommy, which is fine. Like, I don't, as it's been expressed on this channel, I am all for like couples and relationships and all that stuff. But when it comes to her character, it feels like it becomes her only personality trait, where it's like she's the wife of Tommy and that's it. And so, I don't know, it just became boring after that point. But I did like her in the first few seasons, so you know what, fine, I'll give her a bit higher. I'll say like C tier, because I did like her in season 1 and season 2, but once you get to season 3, it's just like, I don't care for her character anymore. It's just like, she's just obsessed with Tommy and that's it, it feels like. So, yeah, C tier. I don't know what this is. Yeah, no clue. This was the guy that Tommy was killed at the end of season 2, and I don't really care for him, but he ends up trying to rape Lizzie, so that is not good, so we're gonna say F tier for that. Moss, I'm gonna say C tier. It was interesting, his character, because he did say like at the start of season 1, I think it was, where he was like, he wants, or he said at some point like he expected Inspector Campbell to come in, and Inspector Campbell, when he first entered the police force, he was talking all about like how he's gonna rid the corruption from the police force and stuff, and Moss was like all for that and stuff, but then Moss expresses his disappointment when Inspector Campbell himself like actually corrupt and stuff. But then by the end of the show, Moss, like after that point, after Inspector Campbell basically dies, Moss is basically just the prime police officer that is working with the Peaky Blinders. So a bit of a hypocrite, but whatever. C tier. I don't know who this is. This is an IRA agent that was in like one scene, I think, so don't care. This is Isaiah, and this character got recast at some point, and I think this is the actor that was in the later seasons, and I think it's the same actor that was in Wake Up Dead Man, so pretty good actor, I'd say. Isaiah, I would give C tier. I'm interested, probably, once again, if they do a when they do a spin-off. I think one of the spin-offs, I think they said they have like 2 spin-offs planned, and I think one of them is supposed to be like for the next generation of Peaky Blinders, so I'm assuming like you're gonna have Finn, Duke, Isaiah, so I am interested to see what happens of Isaiah's character, so I'm gonna say C tier. I don't know who this is. This is one of the white Russian people, so don't care for. This is Jessie Eden. I will give her C tier. She's I think a feminist, and she wants equal rights for women. And besides that, she is a communist as well, and she doesn't really do too much besides, like, she's in season 4 and a bit of season 5, but after that she's like not really in the show at all. So I guess it was interesting, her back and forth with Tommy, like between their ideologies and stuff, but besides that, I don't really have much to say about her character, so I'm just gonna say C tier. This is Jack Nelson. Yeah, I would give him probably, I liked him. I would give him, not A tier. No, sorry, not S tier, but I'd say A tier. I like the Boston accent. He is the only, I think he's the only American character besides Gina, I guess, but, and I guess Luca to extent, but Luca feels more Italian than American. He is, yeah, he has, once again, the accents. If a character has a good accent in the show, they're going to rate highly, but yeah, I did like his character. It was just another gangster kind of boss guy, but this time, like, I was like, you have, like, once again, I mentioned this in my review, I do love the different ethnicities of, like, all the characters, where it's like, it feels very vast and diverse. It's like, you have here, Irish, English, Italian, Jewish, Romanian, Boston. Like, I love all these, like, different accents of the characters, and it feels like very diverse with their cast of, like, villains. I guess in this case, like, most of these guys are villains except for, like, these two, but yeah, I do like, yeah, I thought it was A tier. I enjoyed his character for, like, the bit that he was in the final season. This is, I think at some point this guy was like Ada's roommate and that was it. So Jeremiah, he's similar to Charlie and Curly, where he's like this guy he's pretty prominent in the Peaky Blinder gang, but he's not very, he doesn't actually show up too much. Like, he just kind of, once again, he's similar to Charlie and Curly, where he just follows the orders, but he doesn't really have an arc of his own in the show, so I'm just gonna say C tier. This is, I forgot his name. It was, and I don't, there's no Wi-Fi at the moment, so I'm gonna just check to see if I can connect to the Wi-Fi. Let me see. No, I don't think it's gonna connect here. I hope this doesn't show up in the screen recording, because if it does, then, because I don't want you guys to see what my Wi-Fi is called. So I'm gonna have to rewatch this in the screen recording, and I'm gonna have to see if it does show up, and if it does, then I'm gonna have to censor it. Okay, here, I connected the Wi-Fi again, but now it's not gonna load. I opened the tab and it's just not gonna open. And now I think my screen froze, so that's great. Okay, here, both tabs opened at once. Forgot his name, Billy, Boys, Leader, Peaky, Blinders, let's see here. Such a shame that we go like a whole 2 weeks of doing nothing but rankings, and then immediately after, when I have time to record again, it's like, not a shame, like I want to do this, but here his name is Jimmy McCavern. Just I wish I would have had a bit of a longer break in between doing rankings, but whatever. Jimmy McCavern, yeah, I would say that he was another great action character, but he is like pretty malicious. Like, he killed Bonnie, he killed, I'm pretty sure he was the one that killed, what's his name, Aberama. I'll give him B for Billy Boy. He feels one of the most like malicious and evil characters in the entire show. But I liked his accent, and I would say that it's a shame we didn't see any of him in season 6, because I would have wanted to see more of him. And so, yeah. John, I would give John, I'll give him B tier. I thought that he was good. They kill him off in like season 4, I guess to establish the Changrettas as a threat. Also because I think the actor like didn't want to be in the show anymore, or something like that. Or I think I tried to like look up what happened, like why the actor like left so early. It was like, I guess the actor that plays John, like he felt like he didn't reach his full potential with the character or something like that. So, by the way, now that I have the Wi-Fi back, I just want to see Neil Young. Is this the one that plays? No, it's not Neil Young. This is, yeah, not the what's his name? Inspector Campbell. Actor? Sam Neill, yes, Sam Neill. Yeah, anyway. So, who was I talking about? John, yeah, so John, he feels very much like the quintessential Peaky Blinder. Like, you think of a Peaky Blinder, I imagine, like, John feels like the archetype for the Peaky Blinders. And I liked him. I thought he was a good character throughout the show. It was kind of stupid how it's like he wasn't willing to apologize it felt like just very stupid that the whole events of season 4 were caused by just John like being kind of petty. So, but even so, I liked the character. I'll say B tier. Johnny Dogs, I will give A tier. I liked him. He was fun. Another helper of Tommy's, similar to Curly or Charlie or Jeremiah, but it kind of felt like Johnny Dog had a bit more personality to him, and it felt a bit more like he was a bit more prominent, and the roles that he was given to do, like Tommy would like get him to do more jobs compared to Charlie and Curly and Jeremiah. So I liked Johnny Dogs. I would say I thought that he was, yep, A tier. I'd say this is either Charles or Carl. This is either Tommy's kid or Ada's kid. Either way, I don't care for him. D tier or F tier, don't remember. Don't really care for him at all. This guy, I think he was just a boxing coach. You know, I did like the boxing bits where it's like he would. I think he was the coach of Bonnie Gold, and I did like the scenes that he would, when he would like make remarks or something, so I would give a teacher for that. This is the woman that she worked in the IRA. Don't like her. It felt really cowardice at the end where it's like she was going to, like she went to go kill Arthur, and then at the end, like instead of just accepting her death, she was like, she said something like, it's not your place to take revenge, it's God's place, or something like that. And then Arthur was like, yeah, no, not here in Birmingham or Small Heath or whatever he said. So yeah, she felt like very cowardly, like she was working with fascist number one. That's already like something that puts you down in tears. So anyway, yeah, didn't like, she's an unlikable character, and so I'm rating her low. This guy, he was the Russian, he didn't feel as prominent as he should have felt. Like he is kind of like the leader. He wasn't really the leader. I guess it was his daughter or something that was the leader of the White Russians in season 3. But I thought, yeah, I didn't really care for any of the scenes of him. This is Linda. Linda, I would give her, I'll go C tier. I thought it was interesting. Like her, she grapples with like Christianity, or not Christian. Was it Christianity? It was either she was grappling with Christianity or Catholicism. I don't know. I think the difference is like one. I think Catholicism, you have to like actually, you can't just say like, oh, you can't just like claim that you're a good person. I think Catholicism is like, you can't just claim to be a good person. You actually have to show it through your actions or something like that. And then Christianity is like, no, as long as you believe in like Jesus Christ, then you're a Christian. So I think that's how it works. So I think she is a, I don't know, one of the two. And then so it's interesting where she grapples with like her faith and her like love for Arthur, I guess you could say, or hatred, how it works, whatever you want to say. So Lizzie, she is one of the most interesting characters. I'll say that because I'm gonna give her D tier, but she is one of the most interesting characters. Whereas at the very start of the show, she's just mentioned as this woman that John wants to marry because he wants to find a mother for his children. And then so she's like mentioned as like a whore for the streets, I guess, something like that. And then from there, she becomes one of the most prominent characters in the show, where she works for Tommy as his secretary. And then from there, she ends up like sleeps with Tommy after he's grieving like the loss of Grace and stuff, and she ends up having Tommy's child. So then Tommy ends up marrying her, and then she becomes one of the, like, by the end of the show, where it's like you have so many characters that have died off, like John, Polly by this point, just a lot of characters that are no longer here. We still have Lizzie, who has been here since like the start of the show, so I'm surprised that like Lizzie has become as prominent as she did, like where she started in the show. So Luca Changretta, I like Adrian Brody. I think he's a good actor, and I would say that I liked Luca Changretta a lot. Once again, the villains in the show are great. I liked Luca Changretta. Once again, you have he's basically the face of the mafia kind of in this show, and I thought that he very much brought the mafia style that I wanted from the mafia character of this kind of show. And so I liked him, and yeah, I thought season 4 was one of the best seasons, just because I did like the whole battle between Peaky Blinders and the Mafia, and I thought that he did feel like a pretty, like, up until this point, it felt like Billy Kimber and Darby, and I guess even Father Hughes to an extent, they didn't feel very threatening, where Luca felt like he was like a tactician, like he was actually smart and capable of I guess you could say Father Hughes kind of, but Father Hughes just kind of felt like the face of Section D, whereas you have Luca, who feels like the face of the Mafia, but he also actually feels like a character of his own that's capable of like being able to outsmart Tommy in certain aspects. Like Tommy, he empties the bullets out in advance, so Tommy can't kill him when he confronts him for the first time. So I think that Luca is a S tier character, definitely. Next up, we have, I don't know who this is, so I'm just going to give, I don't remember this guy either. So, who is this? Yeah, once again, I don't remember who this is. This is Finn's wife, and she is like, they just introduce her in like one of the final episodes. She's like, by the way, Finn got married, this is his wife, and I don't think she speaks at any point. So yeah, bottom tier. Maybe this was Francis, actually, because who was the one that I rated then? If I thought that I already rated Tommy's worker. Who was the person that I rated then? Let's see here. I thought that it wasn't this one the one that, this is Tommy's servant. So who's this? Is this also? I thought this was Tommy's like worker. I don't know. Don't remember then. This is the guy that worked for Luca, and it was. I like this character. Like he's just a guy that would. I don't know. He was the most prominent guy from the mafia besides Luca, I would say, and it was interesting. Like he ended up betraying Luca at the end, which I thought was pretty cool to see. This is, I forgot her name, but it was the one that ended up training Tommy's horse. So let's see here. Who trains Thomas Shelby's horse? This was like Tommy's second love interest, I would say. May Carlton, yeah. So she was, like, after Grace, Tommy kind of like falls in love with her, kind of, and so it kind of feels like Tommy has like a lot of different love interests, but then she was the second one, like after Grace, it felt like. So I don't really care for her too much. She just kind of, she trains Tommy's horses. Besides that, she just shows up here and there, kind of giving Tommy temptation to be with her, and then she wants to be with him, but they can't because of their circumstances. And sorry, I just saw that my phone battery is running low, so it's fine. We're gonna finish this, and it's pretty early action in the night, so I don't think I'll get one of these videos out today, but I think that probably I will be able to get one out maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. We'll see. This is, I don't know. This is actually, she was the girl from the very first episode, I'm pretty sure, where she ended up putting a curse or something, or she put like a blessing or something. She did some gypsy magic on the horse that Tommy was riding, and then she ended up causing the, so Tommy was like running a scam. So basically just, you're trying to show that like the horse was gonna win or something. She helped him out with it. I don't care for her. She's not really cares for the show. Michael is interesting. I will give Michael not A tier, but I'll give him B tier. I thought that he was pretty interesting. He starts off as like this guy that he is just Polly's son, and then he kind of wants to enter the life of crime, and then he ends up honestly, out of all the characters, he probably has the biggest like change from the start of the season to the start of the show, when he gets introduced to the end, where it's like he starts off as like this small village boy. By the end, he's like working with like some of the biggest gangsters in Boston, and like he's very experienced in the life of crime and stuff. He's killed people. He's planning to kill people, and he's like very much involved in the, like he has the biggest evolution, I feel like, for his character. So I liked it. I thought that it did feel like a bit, from what I remembered, it did feel on rewatch, his end, he did die pretty, it was pretty quick, like the way he died. Like basically Tommy had Johnny Dogs like switch the bomb out to the other car, and then from there, Tommy just shoots it basically, and then that's the conflict resolved. So, but even so, I like this character. I would say, where did I put him? I put him in B tier here. Yeah, I would say B tier. I don't know what this is. I think this is just some worker that was in one of the seasons. I think maybe he ran like some laundromat or something. Don't remember him, don't really care for him. I don't know who this is either. I think she was the one that was working with the Changrettas in order to get revenge on Arthur, because I think Arthur killed her son. So I don't really care for her too much. I don't know. This was the guy that worked with Tommy. I'm gonna give him like B tier, just because I really like that one scene where it's like Tommy thinks that he betrayed him by giving up the what was it? It was like he thought that he betrayed him because he gave up the keys to the Changrettas, but then it's revealed that like no, he actually didn't betray him, and he just ended up, he was planning to like leave town because he had a really good scene where he's like I forgot because I was tired, because it's like I was too busy trying to like stop the people from like blowing up your factory or something like that. Yeah, I remember. It was because Arthur ends up confronting, like there's two mafia guys that end up trying to assassinate Arthur, and then Tommy thinks that it was him that ended up letting them into the building, and then he reveals that it wasn't him. He was just like, he was too tired because he was trying to stop people from like firebombing the factory and stuff. So I liked his character just like that one scene where Tommy confronts him about the betrayal that he didn't actually do. So this guy, I think this is I think he worked for Alfie in like one scene, and that's it, so I don't really care for him too much. Oswald Mosley, I'm gonna give him like, I'm gonna give him a C tier. Honestly, he went down a bit from the first time I watched it, because on rewatch, I didn't realize like how they had this whole thing where Tommy like finally found the man he couldn't defeat, but then I realized like on rewatch, no, it was just that Finn accidentally leaked the information about the assassination to Billy, and then Billy ends up telling it to the fascists, like the IRA and Oswald Mosley and Billy Boys and all that. So I thought like, oh, the first time I watched it, I thought like Oswald somehow, from what I remembered, I thought like he figured out like he figured out about Tommy's plans of the assassination beforehand somehow, and I thought like, oh wow, this guy really is a threat. And then on rewatch, it was like, no, he just got lucky. That's the whole thing. So, but yeah, I thought I don't know, he's a fascist, so not a good person at all. So, he is, I guess the actor does a good job portraying him, and I guess the scenes with him are kind of interesting when there's like back and forth between him and Tommy or whoever it is that he's with. So, for C tier for that reason. I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. Polly Gray, one of the most prominent characters in the show. I will give her C tier. Honestly, she was fine. It did feel like her emotions sometimes just got the better of her in too many cases, where it's like when she found out that Tommy knows the location of her son, and then she ends up pulling a gun on him. Rest in peace to the actress Helen McCroy. She died before the final season of the show came out, and so rest in peace to her. So they did kind of have to. It does feel also a bit of a shame that like the character. I think her character was supposed to be like a big part of the final season 6, but then obviously the actress died, so they just had to write it so that she also got assassinated during all the killings in at the end of season 5. So it was a shame that they had to kind of cut her character. Her character arc, I guess, had to be cut short because of the unfortunate passing of the actress. So rest in peace to the actress. Even so, I thought her character was fine, throughout the show. She's kind of like, she is the crutch that Tommy kind of leans on throughout the show. Even so, it does feel a bit like her emotions sometimes just get the best of her in too many cases. Sometimes, like, justifiably so, like, in cases, I don't know, she does go through a lot of turmoil. She did get her kids taken away. She ends up getting, she's forced into a position where she has to, like, sleep with Officer Campbell. So she does go through, like, a lot of turmoil. So I do feel bad for her, but I do think that, I would still say C tier because of just the way they couldn't really conclude her character arc, as well as, I don't know, just it didn't work as well as some other characters will say. So, I don't know who this is at all. Don't remember. Actually, I think this is someone's accountant. I don't remember who's though. Maybe it was, I think it was like Father Hughes' accountant, maybe? Or not Father Hughes, I don't know whose accountant this is, but it was someone's accountant, and I don't remember whose it was. So, this is the mother of Michael, and I don't really care for her. It was it was interesting that like they show her coming back. I think it was in season 4. Show like to have Michael interact with someone like his mother, who he hasn't seen at this point in a while. So, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I kind of wish that we had seen a bit more of her, like to see. I don't know. So we only get like one. She is the mother of Michael, and then yet we only see her like once after they actually introduce Michael to the show. So, anyway. This is Ruben. This is just the one that Polly ends up sleeping with, and yeah, so it was a bit of a shame because like I don't know, they introduced him like in season 3. Polly ends up falling in love with him, and then they just write him out of the show. It's like she gets arrested at the end of season 3 along with everyone else, and then from there it's like he's just not in the show anymore. So he was just in one season for I don't know what the purposes were. I think she does mention him later on a bit, where she does say like I've lost my daughter, I lost my son, I lost a man, I killed a man, something like that. Like she does mention him at some point later on, but yeah, I don't really know his character. It just felt like he didn't end up going anywhere with his character. So Ruby, Tommy's daughter, ends up dying. Even so, don't really care for her too much. Like, actually, you know what? I'll give her a bit higher. I'll give her C tier just because of her impact on the show. I did like the impact on the show and like how it affected Tommy's character. So I will say C tier. I thought, honestly, some of the best scenes in the show are the scenes where it's like character deaths are revealed, like when Polly's death is revealed, when Tommy finds out like Polly died, when Tommy finds out that Ruby died. Like I think those are some of the best moments in the show where it's like you see Tommy's like reaction to the death that he, in some cases the deaths that like he is responsible for, in other cases the deaths that he had no control over. So I really like Tommy's reactions to like deaths in the show. So Grace's death as well, when Grace ended up dying. So yeah, I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. I think this is maybe a reporter's of. Is either the reporter that ends up getting killed by the Billy Boys, or it was the friend of the reporter. I don't remember. Either way, don't care for him. I don't know who this is. So yeah, this is a guy that I don't care for him, but I think he was a spy for the Peaky Blinders. He was spying on the Russians. And we just don't hear from him after that again. And I don't know, he was giving information to the Peaky Blinders, and we just don't know what ends up happening to him. So, yeah. This is the woman that, the Russian woman that Tommy sleeps with for a bit, and she's like one of the craziest people in the show. She ends up playing Russian roulette, so, and, winning, so. Don't care for too much. Thomas Shelby, I'm gonna give him B tier. Honestly, he doesn't end up learning from his mistakes, and I'll give him a bit higher than B tier. I'll be generous and give him A tier. He's the main character of the show, and I do think that he just the thing is he just doesn't learn from his mistakes. I'm pretty sure, like I mentioned this in my review, I think he had the opportunity in season 3. They mentioned like, okay, we're doing one last deal with the Russians, and after this we're stopping. And then it's like, fine. Season 4 they had no choice. They had to fight the mafia off. But then after that, it's like season 5 and 6. It's like he's choosing to still enter this life of danger and stuff. So. But I do like here, not Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy is a great actor with the character, and I think the character himself is. I love all the parts where he's like being a business guy, where he's like making deals, he's being a tacticianer and stuff. When he's like faced with danger and he just shows no fear on his face. I think it's all great. The reactions he has to, once again, when like people around him get hurt and stuff. When his rage is released and all that, I think that it is very good. So honestly, I'll give him an A tier, definitely A tier. This is Vincent's, what was his name? Vincent Changretta. He ends up dying, which caused the whole war with the mafia. And I give him, I'll give him C tier just because he had like a good impact on the show. Like his death caused like the whole war with the mafia and stuff. So I'll say C tier just for his impact on the show. This is a guy that works, that I think he was a tunneler with Tommy in the war, and then Tommy ends up hiring him at some point to, I don't know, I forgot what it was for, but Tommy ends up hiring to work for some job at some point. I don't remember, and I don't remember what ends up happening with the character. Just the character doesn't really show up afterwards. Okay, this is Winston Churchill, who I will give B tier. Yeah, I'll say B tier. I liked his back and forth. It's like him and Tommy. They're so different in so many ways, but they're also like pretty much very similar in a lot of aspects. And I do like the scenes with where he interacts with Tommy. I think that those are all good, interesting scenes. Where they both have like a respect for each other when they're from such like different worlds. And so I would say B tier. I'd say. And I don't know who this is. She looks familiar and it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I don't remember who this is. So I'm just gonna say I don't remember. So. Yeah, we will do side style for. Fine, we'll do for all of the tiers except for bottom tier, and we'll just do pure instinct. Pure instinct. There. 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 Then we'll go. And we'll go there, yeah. And then let's go with there, him, her, yeah, sure, why not, absolutely, that, I think that's good. Yeah, and then we'll go B tier. Once again, this is like, when it comes to like pure instinct ones, that's like, less so just don't think about it as much because I don't want to spend the time thinking too deeply about it, but I also don't want to just leave it. I didn't have to, I don't know, in the future I should probably just do the top tiers instead of, I don't know. If a tier looks decently heavy loaded, then I'm just gonna skip it in the future. So anyway, B tier, who's my favorite character here? I'll say Michael, honestly. I like Michael, the best out of these. And then I'm gonna go with, I'll go with Arthur. And then we'll say John, and then we'll say Brilliant Chang. And then, I keep forgetting his name. What is his name? I forgot his name, McCraw, something like that. Yeah, Jimmy McCavern, yeah. Then we'll go Barney, then this guy, then Winston, yeah, okay, and then the A tiers. I'll go Jack, Tommy, Ben, Johnny Dogs. No, I'll put Tommy a bit higher than Jack. I think that's good. And for the S tiers, okay, my favorite character, we're gonna go reverse order for this. I'm sorry, Nigbeth, what happened, but you're not prominent enough to be higher. And out of these 6, we're gonna go with Sabini. And then out of these top five right here, we will go with Inspector Campbell, and then we're gonna go Billy Kimber, then Luca, then Aberama, and then my favorite character from the show, Alfie Solomon. Definitely, I think that is where we are going to leave it. So, with that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So if you have any, this is my ranking of the Peaky Blinders characters. Hopefully this is gonna be my last. I don't think there's anything coming up now that I like. Usually the character tier list I do when I finish shows. I just finished a show now, so I think it's going to be a bit of a while before I think I'm going to probably in the next few. I think that what I'm going to start working on now is like some viewer stuff, some viewer recommendations, and then also besides viewer recommendations, I'm going to be going back hopefully to. I want to finish with some of the video game stories. Like I want to finish with the Skylander reviews, and then I want to also get back to the Ninjago stuff. So I think it's going to be a while before we do like a pretty long character ranking like this one, but yeah, but that is pretty much all there is to it. So if you have any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, web series, anything that you want me to review or rank or compare rankings, it does not have to be media related. It could be anything. Leave it in the comments and I will maybe possibly check it out. But with that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So let's leave it at that.